Hello, fantasy sports fans. Happy Thursday. It is Thursday, the middle of August. The season is winding down, but we are still here to bring you fantasy baseball and our top pickups of the week. I'm your host, Kasey Shienvold. I'm here with Mr. Reliable, Mr. Entertaining, Mr. Everything, Ross the Boss.
I am Mr. Everything. Hi, everybody. I'm Ross the Boss. And I want to talk baseball waiver wire. It's really down to the wire in baseball, too. So this is probably our second to last show, if I had to guess. And I want to talk sports with you, Cowboy. Wow. Today is the big Field of Dreams game. My Cincinnati Reds are playing the Chicago Cubs. Should be a very entertaining game.
Yeah, I think they were hoping for two more competitive teams when they signed them up, though.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, they know these two teams will show up. You know,
and it's Midwest.
There's nothing else to look forward to the whole season, not in the playoffs. So might as well play in the Field of Dreams. And, you know, I mean, I remember, was it last year when they had Kevin Costner, came out of the... Yeah,
it'll be tough to beat last year. That's when Aaron Judge hit the late home run to take the lead, and then Tim Anderson hit the walk-off to win it. It was a pretty epic game. It was awesome.
Yeah.
All right, so you're right. The season is winding down. We just have a few weeks left in rotisserie seasons and then some playoffs and head-to-head seasons. Just to refresh everybody what we're going to do today, we're going to give you some names. We're giving you names based off of the Yahoo rankings, 60% and less owned. We're going to go through our top players, give you maybe some sneaky pickups to help you through the rest of the regular season and into the playoffs. So, Ross, who are your top one or two names this week?
So I'm not going to take the cover boy because that was your idea, so I'm not going to say him. But you can say him. I'm going to say Luke Voight. He was traded to the Nationals from the Padres, part of the trade for Soto. Luke has been hitting very well. We'll talk about him when we get to first base. But Luke Voight is one of the guys I feel is going to have a great September. I think he's going to want to prove people wrong why he was traded. So I like Luke Voight, and I love Randall Grushak of the Colorado Rockies.
Randall Grushak, yep.
Randall, I think, is going to actually, the Rockies are at home this weekend against Arizona, and they're at home this whole week with St. Louis. So Randall's been just tearing it up the whole week, and we'll talk about that also. But those are the two top pickups of the week for me.
Yeah, is there anybody who dislikes Eric Hosmer more than Luke Voight right now? The guy was... on San Diego. He was supposed to stay there for this pennant team. Hosmer won't waive his no trade, ends up in Boston, and Luke Voight has to go to the Nationals, go from a playoff contending team in one of the most beautiful parts of the country to a last place rebuilding team in Washington. But he's still a great pickup fantasy-wise. I think he's angry. Angry Luke is kind of like the Hulk. I think you want him on your team. That's a great idea. Our cover boy is Paul DeJong. That's Paul DeJong. That's who we were talking about, the shortstop for the St. Louis Cardinals. He's just a few years removed from being like a really impactful guy. He lost his swing, got sent down to the minors. Maybe he's found it in the last couple of weeks, batting .333 with 4 home runs and 13 RBIs. That's almost an RBI a day. That's pretty good stuff to help you catch up there at the end. So him, I'll put way up there. And the other one is my only catcher pickup this week because catcher is so thin. But for some reason, William Contreras in Atlanta is still only 46% owned. Last 2 weeks, 297, 4 home runs. If you can get that production out of a pitcher, that's crazy. I mean, out of a catcher, well, I'm sorry.
Williams hitting 297, 4 home runs the past 2 weeks. But the thing about him is this: you gotta monitor him and make sure he's playing that day because he doesn't play every day. So
yeah,
with Contreras, right. I know he's an all-star. I know his brother's an all-star. I know the whole story, so don't tell me. But the whole thing with him is he's not an everyday catcher. I mean, he plays every other day. So that all being said, just watch when he starts. That's all.
But in all honesty, let's say he plays 5 out of 8 games, but gives you those numbers every 2 weeks, does it matter whether he's playing every day or not? Because no other catcher is going to come close to that. In fact, it might hurt you because their batting average is going to be low. They're not getting any of the other numbers either.
I'm not disagreeing.
I understand what you're saying, but okay, let's go right to first base. Give me your top 2 first basemen this week.
Well, let's go back to catcher really quick. Jose Trevino,
you want to do catcher? Let's do catcher.
Jose Travino, he's like under 60%. He plays almost every day. You know that case. You're a big Yankee guy. Travino, for some reason, doesn't get any respect fantasy-wise. I have no idea. Another all-star. Past 2 weeks, 3 home runs, 7 RBIs. He's hitting above the norm, 257. Again, he's a guy that gets a lot of at-bats. The Yankees love him. Great leader. He's great on the bench too. I mean, I just don't understand why he's not owned more leagues. And I want to say MJ Melendez, but he's 61%. So
he went over the mark this week. I saw that too.
I can't say it.
Trevino shares some time with Higashioka, so it could be similar to William Contreras in that way. If you want another pickup who I'm not recommending, but I would look at him, everybody assumed that the New York Mets at the trade deadline were going to go out and get William Contreras' brother, Wilson Contreras. But they didn't. And so McCann has been underperforming. Their top prospect at AAA is Francisco Alvarez. He is a catcher. He's a good bat catcher. He's struggling right now, but if the pennant race gets tight and they need more offense, I wouldn't be surprised to see him called up. So he's one I would put just in the monitor stage.
I like it.
All right, first baseman. I already talked. If you saw my short today, I talked about Christian Walker in Arizona. The guy's been tearing it up. I think he's a top 130 player all season long. Hits for power, scores runs, knocks him in. His batting average is terrible. I think it's like 211 on the season. He's batting 235 or so in the last 2 weeks, which is better. But here's the thing you have to remember. At this point in the season, you're about 1,000 games played on your roster. You could go 0 for the rest of the season, and your batting average may only drop 3 or 4 points. So batting average, where it is now, is pretty much where it's going to stay. So don't worry about batting average when you're picking up players, which makes somebody like Christian Walker more valuable. What do you think?
I like Christian Walker. I like Alexis Diaz of Houston. He plays second base, third base, outfield, shortstop, and first base, which is might as well. I can't believe he doesn't pitch or play catcher. I'm shocked.
It's like that Bugs Bunny cartoon when we were kids. You know, Bugs Bunny at first.
Oh, playing every position. So the past 2 weeks, Kasey, 368, 4 home runs, 10 RBIs. That's in a 14. That's in a 2 week span. Not too bad. So if you need a utility guy for your playoff run, Diaz will be a great pickup for you, just in case one of your players go down. I'm sure he'll fill in somewhere. I mean, this guy plays every position, which is a rarity in baseball today. So I like Diaz, and I mentioned Luke Voight as one of my pickups. I just have a feeling that Voight's going to have a huge September, late August. I think he's going to heat up, and he's going to be wishing the Padres didn't trade him. And that's my prediction. We'll see what happens. But I like Luke Voight a lot.
So Just Bob has chimed in. Welcome to the show again, Just Bob. It's always great to have you here. He pointed out that Contreras, meaning William Contreras, is playing a lot more because Darno is playing poorly or hurt, and Ozuna is playing so poorly that they're putting Darno at the DH spot sometimes. So he's pointing that out. The other guy he mentioned is somebody you talked about a lot last week when I was listening, so I'll let you talk about him again. That's Seth Brown.
Seth Brown, outfielder. First, I wasn't going to talk about him much today, but Seth Brown, he's still killing the ball. I mean, the guy's hitting over 300 the past 2 weeks, like 5 home runs. The guy hasn't slowed down, and he's no clown, Seth Brown. So pick up Seth Brown, first base and outfielder. Somebody has to play in Oakland. I mean, I know no one's watching the games or no one goes to the games. Doesn't matter. Seth Brown gets the at-bats. He plays every day, brings his lunchbox. And he's that type of player. So, yeah, Seth Brown is somebody I like a lot. I just don't want to bring up the same names every week. But yes.
You know who else is banging a little bit these last couple weeks? Who am I talking about?
Joey Votto?
Joey Votto. Joey Bats is hitting 280. He's got a couple home runs, I think. Where am I looking? 273 with 3 home runs in the last 2 weeks. He's come – last year he was like – this resurgent year. This year he struggled a little bit, but he seems to be finding his bat a little bit. Have you watched any Reds games recently?
I watch a lot of Reds games. You know, he's 39 years old or 38 years old. He's showing his age a little bit, but you know what? I root for the guy. He's so fun to watch. And
how many years does he have left on that 12-year contract?
I think this is the last year. I want to say it's the last year. This is it. The $200 million contract's over. I wonder if he'll sign with the Reds again. I'm curious where he goes.
Toronto.
He's from Toronto.
He's a Canadian guy.
He's from Toronto. Very proud to be Canadian, so maybe he'll play his last couple years in Toronto. I don't know. But long story short, I think Votto is a great Hall of Famer, but there's a lot of better players out there to pick up right now.
Sure. Somebody else just to keep an eye on, and you can have him on your bench when he's playing. He's been hitting well, is Daniel Vogelbach of the Mets. Last couple weeks, batting .342, has 10 RBIs. So the Mets have a good lineup. Put in your getting a good left-handed bat in that lineup is a good run producer for you. So he's somebody else I would pick up.
I think Vogelbach is faster than Joey Votto. I mean, Votto is not fast anymore.
That would be a fun race, though. Put them both against the.
I don't know if you
put
guys
them
know who
both against the freeze.
He looks like a softball beer league player, and he makes fun of himself. It's not like he's shy about calling himself overweight. I mean,
no, I remember there was a guy back in the day in the late 90s, Matt Stairs. Do you remember him?
I love Matt Stairs.
All he said was he had a quote where all I do is chug beers and hit bombs or something like that. He was very.
Ron Kruk, who used to smoke cigarettes out in the outfield. There was also Greg Luzinski, not known for fitness at all, but he could hit like no one else can. Ron Kittle, who I remember, could hit, not in shape at all. So there've been the fair guys out there that are not really athletic build, but doesn't matter. These guys can hit the ball very far. So they're
most famously might have been Kirby Puckett of the 80s. Man, he looked like a round mountain, like kind of like Charles Barkley-ish, but that boy could do it all.
His career was ended early because he had the eye injury. Remember, but. His waist must have been like 48 inches. I mean,
all right, let's list some middle infielders. I'm not going to say second base or shortstop because most of them play both. So let's list some middle infielders.
So let's talk about David Fletcher. We call him Fletcher on the show. Past 2 weeks, he's hitting over 300, 2 home runs, 10 RBIs. He's a very streaky hitter. He's on a streak right now, so pick him up. He could play second base and shortstop. I love him. You talked about Paul DeLong. You mentioned that he was sent down to the minors. People thought his career was over. They replaced him with somebody else. He tore it up in the minors. He brought him back up, and he's been hitting Kasey the past 7 days.
Yeah,
409, 2 home runs, 9 RBIs. That's in 7 days. Kasey Shienvold. Not too bad. And then I also like Jose Iglesias of the Colorado Rockies. Rocky players right now pick up. If you can pick up a Rocky player, pick them up because those guys are going to start hitting. Iglesias, not a power guy, but he's hitting .412 with 7 RBIs in the past 2 weeks, which isn't too bad. And it's heating up in Denver. So when heat rises, the ball rises, the ball goes faster. And long story short, you pick up a Rocky, it can't hurt your team at all. Who do you like?
Well, I just want to point out, Bob, hello to you. You mentioned Michael. I'm assuming you mean Chavis, although you wrote Chablis. I'm not sure. But he is a first baseman, second baseman, third baseman last couple of weeks, batting .355 with a couple home runs. So that's a good one. You mentioned Alexis Diaz. I mentioned Paul DeJong. I'm not going to mention them again. Nick Gordon is getting a lot of playing time in Minnesota because of the regular rest that they're currently giving Byron Buxton in the last 2 weeks. .412 with a couple stolen bases. Louis Rengifou of the L.A. Angels of Anaheim.
Angels. Tell us about Louis.
Second, short, third, and outfield. Playing every day the last two weeks. Almost a .290 average, 2 home runs, 2 stolen bases, 9 RBIs. That's another guy who's swinging a hot bat right now. So that would be another middle infielder I would look at. If you're desperate, you could look at Adam Frazier. He's been doing okay. Not from the power department at second base in Seattle, but he does have a couple steals. Again, I'm looking at these category players, not necessarily average players, because the categories at this point in the season is the only place where you can really gain or lose points. And so if you can get 2 to 5 steals in the next couple weeks, that can actually gain you a lot of points in a rotisserie league.
Especially now when no one steals bases like they did 20 years ago.
Right.
So again, a lot of guys are utility guys. They play a lot of different positions, but we could talk about third base. I mean, right now, third base, I like Christian Arroyo of the Boston Red Sox.
Arroyo, yeah.
He's hitting .421 the past 2 weeks. It's better than Ted Williams. So he's doing very well. I like him a lot. And then I'll attempt to say this. Eljuris Montero of Colorado, another Rocky. He's hitting .433, Kasey Shienvold, with a home run. And again, it's that whole Colorado. He plays third base. He starts every game. And I believe he's just going to keep hitting and hitting and hitting until October. So again, Colorado Rockies for fantasy baseball is a big, big plus.
I'm going to mention J.D. Davis too, who was traded to the San Francisco Giants at the trade deadline from the Mets. He's not playing every day for them, but in the last 2 weeks, he's got 4 home runs. I mean, he's swinging a hot bat. If he keeps swinging a bat that well, they're going to give him more playing time. You know, Evan Longoria isn't exactly a picture of health there at the hot corner for San Francisco. So look out for him to get some at-bats for you, get some runs scored. And then Ha-Sung Kim in San Diego. He plays second, short, and third. I'm putting him at third just because we needed some third baseman there. 6 runs scored, 2 stolen bases, a home run the last couple weeks. He's kind of been a little bit of a table setter for them, and they need to. And they have a nitro offense now that they have Juan Soto. So if he can get on base, there's a good chance he's going to score a lot of runs. Any other third baseman that you can think of?
They're all over 60%. I mean, everybody I wanted to mention are all over 60%. So we just gave you 2 guys under 60%. So that's all I got.
Yep, I'm with you. All right, so let's move to the outfield. Tell me some outfield. Who are your favorite outfielders this week?
I love Randall Grushak of Colorado. The past 2 weeks, 358, 3 home runs, 15 RBIs. 15 RBIs in 2 weeks.
That's impressive.
Think about that. So he's been hitting the cover off the ball. He's been playing every day. And again, Colorado plays Arizona at home this weekend. So if you need some help at outfield, it's a great pickup, especially for streaker purposes. Colorado just finished playing St. Louis. Now they're playing Arizona, which is a lot easier team. So we should have a lot of runs over the weekend. Let's see if I'm right. Taylor Naquin of, I want to say Cincinnati, but he was traded to the Mets. And I knew he was going to get hot with the Mets. I knew he would do well in New York. I said it on the air. Past 2 weeks, Kasey Shienvold, 364, 4 home runs, 9 RBIs in the past 2 weeks for Naquin. And he's just getting started. I mean, he's positioned perfect in that lineup. He's protected. They have a lot of talent on that team. And the Mets have been one of the hottest teams out there right now. I mean, they swept.
They're playing really well right now. That's for sure.
Like they beat Atlanta pretty bad. I mean, they're beating everybody. And we mentioned Seth Brown last week. I'll say his name again, Seth Brown. Past 2 weeks, he's hitting over 300, 5 home runs. I mean, nothing stops this guy, and he plays first base. I love Seth Brown because he's no clown. But
that's right.
Again, any 3 of these outfielders, hopefully 1 or 2 of them are available in your league. Drop who's not doing well and pick up one of these guys. I guarantee they'll profit for you. Don't worry.
Yeah. Just Bob wanted to mention Mitch Haniger as a possible pickup. And you're right, he is just off the IL, but he's actually 80% owned in Yahoo Leagues.
I was going to say. So
he's an excellent pickup if he's available because he can add some juice to your lineup. But
not available.
I like Tyler Naquin. You mentioned him. I like all the guys you mentioned, actually. They're probably the top ones. I just want to say this guy's name, Lars Nootbaar in St. Louis. He has just a fun name to say, but he's not only that, he's batting .320. He's got a stolen base. He's got a home run. He's scoring runs, 7 of them in the last couple of weeks. The St. Louis Cardinals are playing baseball about as well as anybody in the league right now. So he's somebody to definitely consider.
And Kasey, I always see his name like in the stats. I mean, I know nothing about him.
No, I don't know a lot about him either. I just love saying his name, Nootbaar.
I mean, I see Nootbaar. I always think of root beer. I don't know why. I always makes me feel good. I see root beer. But, I mean, it's just like, for some reason, I know nothing about this player. I can't tell you where he's from. I can't tell you his back. I don't know nothing. But all I know is he's hitting really well. And he's
producing. And what more do you need?
What percentage is he owned in leagues?
He is at 4% ownership. And in the last 2 weeks, he's 133rd ranked player in Yahoo. Wow. So, I mean, that's pretty good value for that. Kyle Isbell is right below him in the standings. He's doing pretty well too. Not a great average, 233, but scored 9 runs, stolen a base, knocked in 6 runs, hit a home run. So if you're desperate for some outfielders, you can go there. And then there's Trent Grissom. You know, he's got 3 home runs and 7 RBIs in the last couple weeks.
I talked about Trent last week, and we know Trent's in that great lineup in San Diego, even though they lost 6 games in a row after the trade.
Well, I'm not gonna say anything about losing streaks. Watching my Yankees go 1-8. So
the curse of it was the curse of the Bambino, but now there's the curse of
Joey Gallo.
So yes,
I
don't know why New York is stumbling right now. Everybody thought they would win the World Series last month. Now people are talking about Houston, and they're talking about the Mets. They're talking about other teams.
Well, Houston's winning right now. If they win today, they have the best record in baseball by a half game over the Yankees. So
yeah, I mean, Houston has the best record in the American League. I know that, Kasey Shienvold.
All right,
but you know what? I just can't wait for the playoffs. It's going to be
my favorite thing about playoff probabilities right now is that the Baltimore Orioles yesterday were a 50% probability to make the playoffs. I freaking love that.
Let's talk about Baltimore. Let's talk about starting pitchers. My number one pickup in starting pitchers is a Baltimore Oriole. It's funny you said that.
Well, I'm glad I segued that so nicely.
Jordan Lyles.
Yeah.
Jordan Lyles, the past 2 weeks, he's 3-0, Kasey Shienvold, 3-0, ERA 1.53. Not too bad.
Pretty impressive.
For Baltimore, which isn't the losing laughing stock of the league anymore. Laughing stock of the league is either the Reds or Pittsburgh, one of those teams in the Central and the NL. Pick any three of them. But I mean, he is pitching unbelievable, and I feel he's going to be like one of these top gun guys in the league in the next year. I mean, this guy's that good. So
he's pitching well. Yeah, it's a good time to be an Orioles fan, man.
Yeah,
because they have like Gunnar Henderson and Grayson Rodriguez in the minors. They have an exciting team on the field right now. It's a good time to be a Baltimore.
Mountcastle's been killing the ball. I mean,
yeah.
If you play daily fantasy, I mean, just take Mountcastle every day. I mean, he's been destroying.
I wonder how much Mountcastle hates the fact that Baltimore decided to move back the left field wall like 30 feet.
I think every player's mad.
Oh my gosh!
I would be mad too.
All right, so
talk about contract talks.
I know. Just Bob asked if we mentioned Vaughn Grissom, who we didn't. Shortstop, number one prospect for the Atlanta Braves. He was called up yesterday, made his debut. I think he went 2 for 4 with a home run. So a pretty impressive display. He's not very much owned. So Vaughn Grissom is somebody
what's happening to Swanson then? Where does Swanson go? I mean,
Grissom's going to play second base because Arcia got hurt 2 days ago.
That. Okay.
And I'm blanking on his name. The second baseman everybody loves.
Begins with an A. Arias or
no.
Arias?
I'll
listen, I know
just Bob, tell me who I'm thinking of. The second baseman that got hurt, broke his foot for the Atlanta Braves.
Begins with an A. Okay, so another pitcher I like is Jose Suarez of the Los Angeles Angels. Past 2 weeks, Kasey Shienvold, 2-0. His ERA is your GPA in college, 0.0. And he's been pitching. He's been pitching. I mean, this guy's been on a tear. So these guys, the two guys, Lyles and Suarez, are two guys that you can pick up, and you can start. They can start on your team immediately, and they're probably streakers. I don't know how long they'll do this well. It doesn't matter. But you got playoffs coming up in baseball. You got to pick up some starting pitchers. These two guys can help your team tremendously. And we did talk about Reed Detmers of the Anaheim Angels. A lot of Anaheim Angel pitchers I like, but I think they're playing great. Reed is past 2 weeks, 1.29 ERA. He's been 19 Ks, 12 innings. I mean, he loves the strikeouts. He's been really fun to watch. I watch him start all the time. And I think he'll just get better and better on time. The Angels have a lot of young guns. I mean, they really do.
They do. Thank you, Just Bob. I had looked it up too, but it's Aussie Albies. That was the name we couldn't think of. You had the A right, but we couldn't figure it out. So I'm going to mention a couple starters. I'm going to say first, Brady Singer is still pitching really well in Kansas City. He's not going to get you wins. I'm sorry, Kansas City's just not going to win games. But last 2 weeks, 20 innings pitched, 19 strikeouts, less than a 2.25 ERA, less than a 1 WHIP. Those peripherals will always help you. And I'm going to go back to the St. Louis Cardinals, not because this guy's phenomenal, but they have a way of making every player who goes there better. And that's Jose Quintana, who was just traded there. Last 2 weeks, 17 innings, 17 Ks, a win, a 1.53 ERA, a 1.02 WHIP. The guy is producing. And then a rookie who came out of, he wasn't a rookie, a comeback player who came out of the gate, guns a-blazing, then got hurt and is now pitching well again, is Jesus Luzardo down in Miami. Last 2 weeks, 12 innings, 11 Ks, a win, 1.5 ERA, and a .42 WHIP, including, I think he just threw a 2-hitter over 7 innings his last time out. So it's another player who is available and is only 57% owned. So you can get him as well. So there's a lot of starting pitchers out there.
And I want to give props to a starting. I want to give props. He's not under 60%. He's probably 90%.
Who's that?
Is Justin Verlander.
Oh, he's still the best pitcher in the league at 39.
Justin Verlander, 39 years old,
15-3
this season. 15-3, Kasey Shienvold, and he's married to a model. So he's married to a beautiful model. He's 15-3. He's 39 years old. He's playing on a first-place team. What else can this guy have in his life that can?
So
perfect life.
Who would you rather be, Justin Verlander or Tom Brady? Because you just described both of them, except that Brady just turned 45 yesterday.
I'd rather be Verlander. I like guys who throw 100 miles an hour.
Yeah, but it's also not a bad, person to be.
So I just want to give props to Verlander.
He's insane.
Fantasy, everybody was telling me, his career's over. He's too old.
He's going to fall off the cliff. Yeah, all that stuff. How about DeGrom?
I protected him throughout the year. I said the guy has a lot in the tank. And remember, he has been resting that arm a lot. He hasn't been throwing that much the past year. So he's back, and he's mad. And he's probably win the Cy Young and probably win comeback player of the year, too. He didn't play last year. So
yeah, I know.
So comeback player of the year, I mean, he won't be MVP. We'll talk about that next week. But, I mean, he's having a tremendous year. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. Yeah, just Bob wants us to mention Edward Cabrera for the Miami Marlins. He has been pitching. He's been throwing some pretty dominant lights out stuff. The last 2 weeks he's only made one start, so that doesn't help him, but his numbers over the month are pretty darn good. But his last start was 5 innings, 8 Ks, no runs, only 2 hits.
I love that. The Marlins starting staff is really good. They just can't hit.
I know.
Their hitters.
All right, give me some relievers. Give me
your
starting
top 4 and even 5 are like these guys are going to be really good when in a couple of years they'll be a top team.
Yep. All right, wrap it up. Give me your top 2 closers or relief pitchers.
Ian Kennedy you should pick up if you need saves. He plays for Arizona. His ERA in the past 2 weeks 1.50, 3 saves. I think he got that closing job. He's throwing BBs. I saw him pitch a couple nights ago. He looked great. It's a weird thing in Philadelphia. We all think the closer they got from the Cubs is the closer, but this Sir Anthony Dominguez got 2 saves in a row, and his ERA the past 2 weeks is 0.0, your GPA in college, and he has 2 saves. And Rowan Wick of the Cubs, I think it's his job. I mean, I don't know how many games the Cubs will win in the next month, but it doesn't matter. I mean, this guy has 2 saves in the past 2 weeks. But I think that's his job now. So if you need saves, and I know some of you people do. So either Wick, Dominguez, or Kennedy, those are my top 3.
Yeah, they are the 3 clearly elite or the best available. I shouldn't say they're elite. They're not elite, but they're the best available out there. I agree entirely. Eric Swanson has been pitching really well in Seattle. He gets a save opportunity every once in a while, although I still think it's Seawald's job there.
Seawald.
And then A.J. Puck in Oakland can get some opportunities there, but it's Oakland. So the question is, how many save opportunities can he get?
But I think Danny's back, right? Danny Vasquez, he's back, correct? For Oakland,
I haven't checked. I'm not sure, but
he's off the IR. So I don't follow Oakland, but I think he's still the closer, I believe, but. It's a mixed grab bag in Oakland. So you're just fans picking up an Oakland closer. You have no idea what's going to happen.
And if you need saves out of the relief position, Alexis Diaz of your Cincinnati Reds has been striking everybody out. It looks like 5 innings, 9 strikeouts in the last 2 weeks, and only a .75 WHIP. So he's not walking a lot of guys and he's striking a lot of guys out. That's usually a combination for success. But he's a Cincinnati Red. And we all know how reliable their bullpen has been the last few years.
Reds have the worst bullpen in the league. Don't take any Reds.
So it's just somebody to look at.
Yeah, just don't do it.
All right, guys. Well, we flew through today. Look at that. We got through every position. Is there anybody we didn't talk about, Ross, that you want to mention before we bid our adieu?
Next week we're going to do fantasy award show. We'll talk about the best fantasy players. Maybe we'll do position by position, best third baseman.
Yeah, we'll do surprises of the year, both good and bad.
Busts. We'll talk about everything. Talk about next year, how you should strategize your team, what players you should keep, what players I think are on the downturn of their career. We talk about that. And instead of giving you guys a bunch of players to pick up, we'll talk about.
We'll just have fun. So just Bob, you're watching, you think of your list of fantasy MVPs and best at every position. So you can make us look stupid with your better choices than ours. I think that'd be a lot of fun.
Maybe late players you should trade for next year that are kind of.
It's true, especially if you're in keeper leagues, who to target. We can look at all those things. So
yeah, I mean, Kasey Shienvold loves the Yankees, and I have Aaron Judge, and for some reason won't make me in
and Clay Holmes, and I couldn't get them all year long. All right, guys. Well, thank you again for tuning in. It was a lot of fun, Ross, as always. To everybody out there, please like these videos if you like what you're hearing. Subscribe to our network. Ring the bell for notifications. Follow Just Bob's example and leave comments throughout the show or comments before or after the show. We love to interact with you guys. It's been a great baseball season. We got 1 week left to go. I hope you all had a lot of success this year, and have a good night.
Kill Cliff Octane. New flavor. Laser Lemon. Plus 125 milligrams of clean caffeine. No sugar.
25 milligrams of CBD.
Meow available at QCliff.com.